So the title of this, that hyperlink to it, is Female Hypocrisy 101 by whatever podcast. So this is what they're talking about, which is making women look done. So we'll just check this out.
Women have been oppressed since the beginning of time.
How?
And it's natural.
Oh, gosh.
How?
Are you really? How?
Yeah, go ahead.
How?
You're the one saying this is true.
How?
Yes.
No, women were oppressed in history, but so were men. It's
How?
not.
Not as much as women
see, now
were.
this is interesting, because if I say, how were women oppressed? You're like, well, it's self-evident, Brian. I shouldn't have to educate you. Yet you've just asked me the same question. You've just asked, how were men oppressed? Shouldn't you know?
No, because that wasn't taught in school.
So isn't that interesting? Male oppression was never taught in school. Female's oppression was. Isn't that interesting? So who's really oppressed then?
Oh my God, Ryan.
If men's grievances throughout history are overlooked, who's the real one that's oppressed? Perhaps you don't even believe men are oppressed.
Don't, to be honest.
You don't?
Yeah.
Okay.
Woman.
Okay, so this is your typical guest of the show, I guess, is essentially what they're trying to say. Let's pull the article back up. Present, share screen. There it is. Now that we got that hyperlink out of the way. By belittling female guests. I don't know that this guy Brian, the host, was belittling this gal. I'll get into some of the details of why that is in a moment. We'll just read through the article on what our friend Brooke Cato has to say here about this. Making them look dumb. Whatever, in quotations, is hosted by Brian Atlas. It masquerades as a dating talk show while delving into gender roles, body counts, and the legitimacy of the patriarchy. The podcast team uses social media to seek women panelists, only to later roast them online in snippets, pandering to the virality of the inflammatory hot takes. So in other words, it's perfect clickbait. It absolutely is. So here's, I guess, a panel of a recent show. It says, whatever podcast been slammed for belittling women. You've got Destiny, the blue-haired bisexual dude that lets his wife over here sleep with whoever she wants. The rest of the gals from the panel, this dork over here, I talked about him in a community post, and I'm not sure who this guy is, and this guy is, and he's wearing a wig. I guess, I don't know if he's trying to mock this guy over here or what the story is, but anyway, he's wearing one of his red toupees, I guess. In one episode, the panelists, who are all women, rate themselves as 10s, much to Atlas's shock. Well, okay. That's certainly going to drive some controversy. I wonder if there's like a pre-screen that they ask them, like, how would you rate yourself, before they bring them on, and they bring on women that rate themselves as 10s in advance. Maybe not. I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to be honest. I'm not going to rate you guys, but none of you guys are a 10, he says in response, prompting a chorus of agreement in the comments by users cruelly joking about the women's weight and appearance. To this point over here, the chorus of agreement you see in the comments of these live shows, and they generate a lot of live views. It's kind of trendy now. It's like the trending thing, right? Do a podcast, sit at a table with a bunch of people. There's a few gotcha moments. There's a few, revelations from body count, from their views on feminism, on the patriarchy, on the oppression of women, and that sort of stuff. And of course, you've got viewers watching it who are just, they're just slamming the people on the panel, usually just the women. They're making jokes about their appearance, their weight, their entitlement. And look, are they entitled? Yes, generally speaking. Are they usually bimbos? Yeah, generally speaking. Like, they're not putting their best on, if you know what I'm saying. Like, you're not seeing classy women on there, because classy women wouldn't make the show work. So having low IQ entitled bimbos that aren't tuned into the reality of the world, that have a skewed view, which most women generally do because they're solipsism, they really can't see past their own nose at the end of the day. But the viewers are the other thing that I see that pops up a lot too, is you get a lot of these, I don't know if they're disgruntled, if they're upset, if they're MGTOWs, if they're incels, or what they happen to be, but watching 2, 3, 4, 5, 8 hours. I don't know how long they run. I mean, they seem to run for several hours. I only ever watch the clips because those are the ones that are shown to me by the algorithms. But I know they run for several hours. And a lot of these dudes are sitting there in the comments and they're sending like massive super chats I'm not talking like $5-10 with a general question to be asked. It's like 50, 100, 500. They're huge. Usually with slanderous statements to the panelists. So, I mean, you can take it for what it's worth. I've got a lot of dope friends and we do dope shit. You know, I'm the guy that likes doing supercar rallies and stuff like that, and business dealings and investments. And none of the guys that I roll with have time to be in the comments belittling people via super chat that gets shown up on the screen. So there's that element of it too, as well, which sort of drives, it fuels the fire. Okay, if you will. I mean, I don't see this as a long game for creators doing this type of model. So, you know, it is what it is. But again, prompting a course of agreement in the comments by users cruelly joking about the women's weight and appearance. In another, Atlas grills the panelists on their body counts and how many people they've been intimate with, and is met with resistance. Well, of course it's going to be. And women will never be honest about their body counts anyway, at the end of the day. I've said this many times, guys. If you ask a woman what her body count is, she generally only remembers guys that she was intimate with over a long-term basis. Boyfriends, guys that she dated for several months, guys that she might have pined for, that she was perhaps alpha widowed by. They have amnesia when it comes to things like threesomes, what happened in the nightclub bathroom, what happened in Vegas or Ibiza, stays in Vegas or Ibiza. All of those things, they just don't have a recollection of it. So asking them the numbers is kind of pointless at the end of the day. But what it does is it drives conversation around, well, how dare you ask a woman how many guys that she's been with? Because in the modern era that we live in, you know, men and women have been told that they're the same. Women have been told, well, if men are promiscuous, then women can be promiscuous without any consequences. But what they end up doing is they seem to try to hold these women accountable to standards. And if a chick's been with 50 guys, like I've seen videos here. There was one that was a clip that got some viral push where this very average looking girl, probably a 4 or 5, you might rate her like most of the public, was talking about being with 100 guys plus. And I think there was some conversation, if I'm not mistaken, if it's not the same girl, it was another one, but she said that she had several of them in a week, and in some cases in the same night. So of course that's going to get pushback, and it's going to get some virality in the algorithms, because what it does is it just reinforces what guys that are struggling with women are experiencing, which is women are trash, right? And that's really where it takes us, and what this article is probably going to drive at by the time we get to the end of it. And I don't think that all women are trash, but I also don't think that all women are pure either, right? Like there's something going on there in between. It just so happens to be that the panelists that are selected for these shows, look, again, like I said earlier, they're not sending their best, are they? Right? Anyway, girls and panelists body counts, that's met with resistance, of course, right? Because women have traditionally not liked being slut shamed. So, you know, they try to downplay it, obviously. In quotations, it says here, "It doesn't matter to me, but it matters to you guys," one woman said, gesturing to the men sitting around the table. "So I'm not going to go and put myself out there and say my body count just for you to ridicule me or something." Well, of course you're going to be ridiculed if you volunteer that you've been with a whole bunch of dudes, because you inherently know that it's disgusting, right? But this is what the show is trying to highlight, you know, I suppose, right? He goes on to say, while OnlyFans models Nicolette Nicole admitted that her appearance on the podcast was to bolster her own following. Let's see who this is. I'm just clicking through on here. I think I can share this on the screen, but just for context, there's a little bit of sexy time on this one. So this is who Nicolette Nicole is. This is her link that was hyperlinked in there. She looks like an OnlyFans creator girl. And, you know, I guess if you tell them, hey, you know, you can link your OnlyFans below in the show notes, then they'll probably be more interested in doing it, because what woman that is doing something like OnlyFans doesn't want to recruit more thirsty beta followers in her orbit? So anyway, so this gal, Nicolette Nicole, admitted that her appearance on the podcast was to bolster her own following. She told Vice that the clips were definitely chosen. Vice, God, that publication sucks. me just hyperlink this and see where it goes. Latest trend in podcasts, making women look dumb. This is the exact same title of this article, but it's written by Magdalene Taylor. Huh. So there, okay. I'm going to come back to that in a second because maybe there's some references in there. So she links to this other article with the exact same title written by another journalist, and shame her. Well, look, if you're selling pictures of your butthole online on an app, of course people are going to offer their opinion on that. The vast majority of the public doesn't agree with it. I think most OnlyFans creators that do that as a job understand that it is detrimental to a healthy relationship with a man. I mean, maybe some lib, left-leaning, progressive sort of blue-haired dude will be okay with it. But the traditional guy that she's going to be attracted to, the strong, masculine, virtuous sort of guy that she wants, is going to frown upon it. And I think inherently these creators, these OnlyFans creators, know that. So I think this article is being a little bit disingenuous from that perspective too. Anyway, controversy, make her look dumb and shame her. Well, yeah, you're selling pictures of your butthole. You are going to look dumb, you know, if you try to defend that. I'm not going to argue with that. There's some screenshots here. You're a 10 question mark, no 10s with his hands out. Twitter and TikTok, the video's provocative one-line captions lure thousands to millions of views. OnlyFans girls get roasted, the podcast tweeted. Let me just hyperlink that and see where that takes me. I'm checking them first to make sure. Yeah, you guys. Okay, yeah. So I can share this one with you. Present, share screen. So the title, and they use clickbaity titles too, you know, if we're being honest, right? Like this one says, OnlyFans girl gets roasted. Getting thrown out, roasted, rage quitting. What are the other ones that I've seen? Frank Castled. That's another version of getting thrown out. They have all these different versions that have, you know, become trendy now. But so this is the hyperlink that opened up for the OnlyFans girl that purportedly got roasted, that I opened up the other link to her Twitter. So let's see what this one here has to say. I'm just going to speed it up a little bit and volume up. Go.
So both of you do OnlyFans. How much do you make, Nicolette?
I make a lot.
How much per month?
I think it's like kind of tacky to say like exactly how much money you make.
I mean, it's
It's
tacky
not-
to be on OnlyFans in the first place, but
That's fired.
I mean, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. That's like bad vibes right there. Like, oh my god. Like,
disagreement is bad vibes.
but
So both of you do OnlyFans. How much do you make, Nicolette?
I make a lot.
Again, like you're not finding the best out there. You're not even finding remotely close to even remotely average women. Like you're dealing with, well, like whatever, that's just bad vibes, right? Like this is the response to the fair and I think just criticism of her life choices. And she just dismisses it as it's just bad vibes. Well, you are going to be judged for being promiscuous. That is a reality of the world. I really hope you guys enjoyed that clip. If you want to watch the full-length podcast, you can find that over here, that clip's from. If you're newer to the channel, make sure you hit subscribe over here. And pinned down below in the top comment, you'll find a bunch of useful links to my website, my supplement line, books, and a bunch of other stuff. Have an amazing day. Peace out.